Hello, beautiful people. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Honest am here, the creator and writer of the Honestly Sis newsletter, a bi-weekly newsletter geared towards millennials who are truly trying to get their shit together. And I'm here for another daily motivational video. So yeah, I want to apologize because I have to do things a little bit differently. So this month I have started back up not only writing my manuscript in number 23, but also with social media, which social media is not really like taking my focus away because I already like scheduled it out for the month. But it's just like I'm just learning how to, the writing is really what's killing me. So I have to really learn how to like rebalance my workload and try to figure out my flow all over again. So I apologize if you don't have like your videos all this week, but just give me like maybe a month or two to like get back in the rhythm of things. It kind of takes me a minute to like really get into a groove, and like I can't even think about opening personal readings back up until probably the new year because I gotta figure this shit out. Okay, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and do a quick little starseed message. God, guardian angels, ancestors, beings of light. What information do you have for us to become the alchemists of our life, to help bring heaven on earth, or just to do magic in public? God, what information do you deem worthy for us to hear at this time? Please deliver these messages to me and through me. Why are my all my words at the end of the sentences were like hella high for a minute? I don't know what that was about. All right, God, what do we need to say? So it's like I'm like mentally telling myself like, you can't get through all. If you can't do all, I'm not gonna be able to do 5 videos a day, which was I really low key couldn't do 5 videos a day anyway. But like now I'm really know I can't do 5 videos a day. So I'm trying to figure out my new groove. Let's see what time is it. Yeah, trying to figure out my new groove. So I probably just have to split it up. All right. Speaking of that, so the card that came out in Patience actually peeked up at me is choice. By staying conscious in your thoughts, you guide your journey in the direction of your choice. Please make sure you check out angel number 216, our new moon in Libra reading, because that reading is all about why it's so important to be conscious of your choices. But to give you just a quick summary, it's important for you to stay conscious of your choices because that's how you become a spiritual being. Not even that's how you become a spiritual being. That's how you co-create with the universe. Yes, things happen to us, but it's all about our response to them, and our response is to the things that happen to us. So the way that we respond. Hold on, I'm sorry, I lost it. Amber, where you at, girl? Come back. I should have got some water. Okay. I'm trying to push myself. All right. Anyways, so what I was saying was this is choices. By staying conscious in your thoughts, you guide your journey in the direction of your choice. And this is how we co-create with the universe, by making choices and actions that are in alignment with our intentions and what we want to do. So often, a lot of us, we want to be better people, or we want to, live the life of our dreams, but deep down inside, and maybe not even consciously, we make choices that counteract where we're really trying to go. We self-sabotage, angel number 337. And so what God is saying is that in order to become an alchemist of your life, it's very important that you be conscious and mindful and intentional with your choices. And that is how you really start stepping into your power as a spiritual being and start co-creating with the universe. Okay. So a good example of that is my intention for the rest of the year, honestly, until I turn 33, I really genuinely want to earn a living doing what I love. That's my intention. That's my hope. That's my prayer. That's why I write every morning in my journal. So it's like, that's what I want to do. And so in order for me to make that intention a reality, I have to be mindful of my choices and my decisions that I make, my choices and actions that I take. And so I have been getting, like, literally my brother emailed me 2 jobs. My mom emailed me 2 jobs. I got reached out to a company twice. And it's like all these things for corporate America, but it's just like my choice is to not apply because that's not where I want to go. Angel number 444. And I know a lot of people may look at that as crazy and be like, well, girl, I know so many people, I've had those conversations where like, well, sometimes you just have to do what you got to do to, get where you need to be. And it's just like, yeah, I've done that before though. I'm like, this time around, I really want to step into my power of being a co-creator and like really bringing in and drawing in an opportunity and a job that is just really for me, where I don't have to compromise myself. It's like, to me, it's just so necessary for me to make this stance. And if that's something that you have, that you want to make a change in your life, the way that you make that change is by the choices that you make. So you can't betray yourself. You can't settle for, you can't make decisions out of fear. You just really have to make choices that are in alignment ultimately with where you want to go. Angel number 530. The other card that came out is inner world. Your external world is a reflection of your inner world. And I mean, I feel like that really clarifies like a lot of the new moon message. But for this message, it's like what God is saying is that when you start to get clear on realizing that you are a spiritual being and that you have the power to co-create your reality and that anything that you desire you can acquire, and then you start making choices and you start moving that way, then you send not only a signal to the universe, but you are showing yourself that, oh, this can be a reality for me. This is my reality. And so you start seeing those small manifestations. And if you just trust that if God can give you those small manifestations, he can give you the bigger things. And so it's really not about trying to do anything in this world or trying to become anything, but really about learning how to become more at peace and more balanced with yourself. And I feel like that's why for me it's so important for me to step into my femininity, because I feel like that was kind of taken away from me. My mom used to tease me a lot. Oh, truth. See your light, know your power, have the courage to walk in your truth. So again, about staying conscious of your choices and making sure that your inside world reflects your outside world. But my mom used to call me vain and all this other stuff, and it really kind of made me not want to like say when I told this story before, like I got my first check, the first time I ever made money for myself, and I was like, spend all this money on getting my hair done, get my nails done. And my mom was just like, oh my God, that's so vain. You look so fake and blah, blah, blah. And it made me feel like, well, I shouldn't be spending my money on stuff like that. Like it really made me stop taking care of myself. But it's really because my mom stopped taking care of herself, and me showing up as my full self was a reflection of what she was not doing. And so what God is saying is that when you are clear on who you are on the inside, the external world reflects out. Like the world has no choice. The universe has no choice but to show you a reflection of who you are. And honestly, that's really what the world is. The world is nothing but your mirror. But right now, a lot of us, we are living in unconscious mirrors. Like we're living in, like our fear mirror and like what we've been taught to do. But as the journey to become a spiritual being is learning how to make more conscious choices and more conscious decisions. And as we're making more conscious choices and decisions, we're starting to see our power of us creating with the universe. And it gives us more confidence to walk in our truth and to be true to ourselves. All right. Because we're a channel. Look, that's also came out. All right. God, let's just do really, really quickly. God, what is a tool that you can give us? Maybe one tool you can give us to help us understand this message of choice, inner worlds, truth, and channel. How can we just step into our power as co-creating with the universe? Why is it so important to make sure that we do the work on the inside? And it's reflected out. That's what God I keep hearing. Like, it's like you do the work, angel number 841, you do the work on the inside, and then it reflects out. Didn't that sound like I was like, yep. All right, so the card that came out, there is no shortage of time or money. Shortages of time or money are perpetual. If you are feeling a shortage of time or money, your best effort would be to focus upon better feeling thoughts and do more things that make you feel good. Your time is a perpetual thing, and even though the clock is ticking the same for everyone, your alignment affects your perception as well as your results that you allow. As you observe the enormous differences in the efforts that people apply and the results they achieve, you have to conclude that there is more to the equation than achieving alone. And so what God is trying to get you to understand is that that's why it's so important for you to be conscious of your choices that you're making. I know so many women that are literally settling with men and like having kids with people because they just feel like, I'm running out of time. Like, if I don't have a baby now, I'm not going to have a baby. And then they do that, and then they wonder why everything falls apart, and then they end up living out the same childhood trauma that they were living. You know, they start living out their same childhood trauma they had that they grew up in. They're just recreating it for their child. But it's because you have this perception that there's a shortage, we're running out of time, I got to do this now. But what God is saying is that when you understand that what's for you is for you, nobody can take away what God has designed for you. Once you know that, and once you make a choice that I want what's for me, I want all those blessings, all of those visions, that husband, that kid, that house, I want what God designed for me. When you make that choice in your heart and your mind, and then you don't make any decisions outside of that, if you start to walk in that truth and you start to live that way, you start to channel that into your everyday life, the universe has no choice but to give you all of those things you asked for, because you have fully embodied it. I feel like that's also what God is saying. He's like, you have to, he's really been stressing this thing about action. You have to become the thing you want. A lot of us women, we want love, we want a man, but we don't want to take the time to love on ourselves. We don't want to take the time to even get to know ourselves. And if you don't want to get to know you, why the hell would you think somebody else will want to get to know you? Okay? So it's like, again, we have to take responsibility for the choices that we make, and being mindful if we're being channels of God or if we're being channels for some lower vibrational things. Are we walking in our truth, or are we walking for other people? Are we living for ourselves and for the things that we desire, or are we living for the external world? That's what we have to decide. Whatever I desire, I can acquire came out, and what if everything was working out for me? And this is just God, again, he's saying is that the choice is yours. You have to decide. Like, I can sit on here, I can do these videos, you can watch all these videos till you blue in the face, but until you decide on the inside that, hey, I'm worthy of living life of my dreams, you know, I can do this, God wants this for me, then it's all gonna seem like bullshit. So it's like, you have to make that choice to decide that you're worthy of living out your heart's desire. Okay? I'm actually gonna wrap this up with I'm gonna wrap it up with a sacred rebel. All right, God, clarify this message of choice, inner world. Look at that. Whatever I desire, I can acquire for, look at this. Whatever I desire, I can acquire with inner worlds. So you decide that in your mind. You decide that in your mind, and then it blooms outward. For choice, shortages of time and money is perpetual. You decide that you're not running out of time, that there is no shortages, that what God designed for you, he gave to you, it'll come. And then for truth, what if everything was working out for me? If you decide that you're going to live in your truth, and that anything that comes up is just helping you get closer to that truth, then ultimately you will see your power of you being the channel, and your life will be as good as you allow it to be. Angel number 13. Honestly, I kind of want to just leave it there. Just want to leave it there. God, clarify this message of inner world. Hold on. I'm not going to take that. But seeing the real you came out. God, clarify this message of inner world, choice, channel, truth. And inner world, choice, channel, truth. Clarify this message of whatever I desire, I can acquire. Shortages of time or money. Whatever. Everything is working out for me. My life is good. God, what happens if we make that choice that whatever we desire, we can acquire, and we decide to walk in our truth and to become a channel for you? What comes to us, God? What do you want us to know about this message? Allow no room for doubt or confusion. The card that came out is going beyond normal and restore and replenish. Some of you guys need to just take some time to just chill. Yes, I feel like, yes, God is saying we need to make actions. Yes, we need to make conscious choices, but this does not mean that you need to start going crazy, start signing up for classes. Really take the time to rest and reflect. That's what retrogrades is about. It's about reflecting on your life, reflecting on how this last year has gone. Has it been going in the direction of what you want it to be? If it has been, or if it hasn't been, how can you change your thought process to be like, well, what if all of this was ultimately happening for me? Angel number 1433. So, you guys have heard about me, talk about me and my ex breakup. And then we came back together. And then I realized it wasn't, and it fell back apart. And I could be like, oh, God played me and all this other stuff. But I decided, I took responsibility, and I decided that, you know what, that it just let me know what my truth is. And my truth is that we just weren't in alignment, that this wasn't the person that was for me. And so ultimately it happened for me. It happened for my greatest good. And it was happening. It was happening for my greatest good, and it was working in my favor. So again, it's like taking a look at the things that happen to us and making a choice to look at it for good instead of looking at it like God is punishing us, because nothing is being done for a punishment. It's ultimately happening for us to become who we meant to be. But the card that we're going to focus on is going beyond the normal. On the path of life, there are deciding moments where we can decide to go with the mainstream, or we can dare to take a bolder, more authentic and trusting way, even if it seems riskier or less safe. To rely solely on logic and science without incorporating the mysterious and magical is a recipe for an existence that is far too dry. The sacred rebel within our hearts will always choose a juicier approach to life. You are currently approaching such a choice point. Choice. You are currently approaching a choice point. You could say that the choice is about balance. It is less about choosing to honor either art or science, gardening or architect, and more about integrating all approaches so that you enhance rather than hinder your life journey. Placing science or architect above all else kills off the rebellious heart. Steadfastly relying on logic, proof, and a complete set of plans to measure and dictate outcomes will suffocate the soul. Basing decisions on limiting factors with such imbalanced measure of success is unnecessarily limiting. This approach prevents us from living freely, spontaneously and with trust, so that we can rebel against the need for things to go strictly according to plan. Choose to value decisions based on passion and instinct and trust in life enough to embrace it as an adventure and let it unfold as it is. Truth. And I had 2 readings last week about what if life is one big adventure. Angel number 17. I'm going to keep reading. There is a time and place for logic, strategy, planning, and measurable outcomes. These are not bad tools to have, but we must be vigilant not to worship them or allow them to squash our less rational but equally valuable decision-making tools. Intuition, feelings, and those things we know without knowing how you know them. The knowing inspirational energy of the heart may have no conceivable basis in logic or reason and is still uncannily accurate. To remain rebellious, we must not sacrifice the art of emotional instinct, passion, and intuition for science of logic and strict planning. On the other hand, gardening and art do provide us with a plan adapted more loosely held. This plan still requires us to set aside time, to draw upon reliable methods, and to prepare with certain tools. However, there is also a healthy dose of organic flow, responsiveness, and trust in the creative process of bringing something to life. This leads to the cultivation of the most beautiful, abundant, and successful garden and the most vivid, healing art. You are being asked to stay open to the intuitive approach in your life, your work, your creativity, as well as in your spiritual journey. The intuitive approach can be likened to the method of a gardener or an artist. There is a sense of what might work where, or a loose or even a detailed plan, but how the plan is carried out will depend on and respond to the flow of its surroundings. There is no need to control the situation, but rather a desire to nurture an idea to fruition. You may have pressures around you from the world or from your own conditioned nature to do things according to the rules, to a deadline, or to the accepted mainstream view that you need a well thought out plan for success in a commercial venture. However, sometimes the best plan is to do what feels intuitively truthful in the moment and to trust that you are being led towards your own growth. Adopting this approach means you have to do far less planning and far more living. It is pure and a heart-centered way to manifest your art, your life path, and your essence into practical expression into the world. It invokes a willingness to be led by nature instead of trying to control the powerful voice of life, which is a bit like trying to fit a proverbial ocean in a teacup. It is far more intelligent to allow the ocean to be the ocean and to learn to swim in it rather than to cram it into the vessel that is much too small. This oracle brings you a special piece of guidance. You are moving outside of the plan. You are living on the border of what is socially accepted. This is good. This fringe-dwelling freedom, others might not see this about you straight away, as you may seem pretty normal, but that secret eccentric streak is just waiting to show itself. And maybe you are already an out and proud fringe dweller, completely comfortable with this way of being. Either way, this oracle brings you the message that you now have a chance to live from the heart more deeply and expressively than ever before. It wants you to realize that this is a legitimate, empowered, and creative way to live that honors all of who you are. You can give up forcing or squashing yourself down into a very limited set of so-called desirable qualities like intellect and control. If you have yet to relate to this consciously, this oracle brings you the further message that you are going to be breaking with tradition. Perhaps not entirely, but at least in a way that is meaningful to you. This will require you to have courage in your convictions and faith in your hard truths. This will help you and inspire others around you to step out of fear and live more freely and lovingly. You are not necessarily meant to abandon logic and intellect altogether. You are to use them to service the desires of the heart, rather than to replace its natural, spontaneous, and truthful nature with controlled planning and narrow strategy. It's time to get a bit wild and let nature take its course. Oh, guys. That message meant everything to me. She feels she knows. These messages they just mean so much to me, and I'm trying to come out of myself right now because I'm like really okay. Let me not cry. Number 2203. Yeah, I don't even know. I just this world is changing. And I think it's scary. We don't talk enough about how scary it is to really genuinely step into faith, into surrender to God. I told you guys that I have been I've been working on my manuscript, and I'm starting back writing this Monday. I'm recording this on Tuesday. I started back writing yesterday. And like even today, like I have, as y'all can see, that's my outline. Like I've done all this planning, and yet there's still like this part in me, like as I'm writing, like it's such a different process now. And it's like, I literally found myself like low key chanting, like, just trust yourself, trust yourself, trust yourself, trust yourself. And like I tweeted today, like I feel like every area of my life is about trust and like surrendering and just like letting go. And I say all that to say, like, I'm going to link my article about my manuscript down below, but I have done all this planning. I know this book from beginning to end. I know these characters, and still I have to allow myself to let the story naturally unfold as it will go. And I'm telling you this because I want you to understand that our life is just like me creating this book. We have this plan of how we want our life to go and what we think is going to happen at benchmark 15 and what's going to happen when we turn 40 and what's going to happen here. But what God is trying to get you to understand is that fucks us up. It gets us stuck in these boxes and we start getting mad at ourselves and we don't reach these milestones. What God is saying is have a plan for your life. You need to have a plan for your life so you can have direction for your life, have focus for it. But just like I have that outline up there, even though it's all planned out, I'm still allowing myself to swerve and to dip and to cut and to do whatever the fuck I need to do to finish this book, because the process of planning it and living it is totally different. And so what I'm really wanting you to understand is that you need to make that choice that you don't need to know the entire plan. You don't need to know every single thing that's going to happen. You need to trust that you know it already, that God revealed it to you already. And now it's just time to just go beyond the normal. Now it's time to walk out those steps and just walk in your truth. And the beautiful thing about this thing called life is that as long as you are good inside, as long as you are walking in your truth and doing things that are in alignment with yourself and your highest good, everything will turn out okay. It's not magic. It's just universal law. Whatever you desire, you can acquire. If this time-space reality has within it the ability to inspire a desire within you, it is absolute that this time-space reality has the ability to yield you a full and satisfying manifestation. It is law, y'all. I was mad at Oprah in show number 2544. Because I was so fucking jealous and so fucking mad because I'm like, I'm doing all this stuff. Y'all, I don't know what was going on with me, but it was like I was mad because I'm like, why isn't Oprah seeing me? Why isn't Oprah motherfucking Winfrey seeing me? Like, why don't she see my light? And why don't, and it was just like, I had to realize, like, damn. As a matter of fact, it wasn't even me realizing that. I watched Really Love. And if you've seen it, there's this scene where he was like, you the greatest, aren't you? And he's like, yeah, I'm the greatest. She's like, but you think they just gonna know that? It's like, I have to make her pay attention. I have to make them see. And it's not even about make them. I have to show myself it. I was mad because nobody won't just come and just gift me with some miracle shit. Nobody won't just come, but what God is trying to show me is you don't even want it that way, Em. You want to earn this shit. You want to get it. You want to see your own power. You want to see your life change from the thoughts that you make. You want to see it happen. You don't want somebody to just come and give the shit to you. And so that's why I realized this weekend, like, I changed my mind. I'm not seeking no more. I'm not searching no more. I'm being. It's time to just become who I am because I know who I am. I know already. I've seen it. I planned it. I researched it. It's like now it's just time to walk it out and to walk in my truth and to make sure that every choice that I make is in alignment with that truth. If that is your wish, now I want you to put your heart on me. Put your hand on your heart and touch and agree with me as I say this. I now call on unconditional love and ask for the blessing of the heart to be witnessed and sanctioned by the great universal creator so that I may rise above small-mindedness and use the best of what human culture has to offer in service to love. Through my own free will, so be it. May the wisdom and the guiding hand of the great gardener who works with unconditional love nurture the garden of my soul into magnificence. I dare to live creatively from my heart and thrive. I now call on unconditional love and ask for the blessings of the heart to be witnessed and sanctioned by the great universal creator so that I may rise above small-mindedness and use the best of what human culture has to offer in service to love. Through my own free will, so be it. May the wisdom and guiding hand of the great gardener who works with unconditional love nurture the garden of my soul into magnificence. I dare to live creatively from my heart and thrive. I now call on unconditional love and ask for the blessings of the heart to be witnessed and sanctioned by the great universal creator so that I may rise above small-mindedness and use the best of what human culture has to offer in service to love. Through my own free will, so be it. May the wisdom and the guiding hand of the great gardener who works with unconditional love nurture the garden of my soul into magnificence. I dare to live creatively from my heart and thrive. I don't know what it is that you want to do, how you want to go beyond the norm. I know that it is scary. I know you're probably shaking in your boots, but I'm asking you to just trust that you can do this. Trust that you got this. Drop down in your heart and know that God will deliver. Okay? See you on the other side. All right, y'all. That is all the messages I have for you. If you made it to the end of this message, please give me a thumbs up. If you made it to the end of this message and you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Until we meet again, dream those dreams. Never let the internet rush you, and never, ever let someone tell you what you cannot do. Angel number 2930. Take care.